The psychological prison of work. I don't see many people talking about work like this. I've seen many of those I would rather die than work a 9 to 5 videos. And believe me, I'm planning on making a whole bunch of those. So, if you subscribe for the anti-work stuff, believe me, there's plenty of that where it's coming from. But a lot of the time, people talk about work like a physical thing. Okay, so you have your 40 hours a week, and that's, some people love that and think it's amazing, but a lot of people don't, and that's why we're here. We don't like work. But then it's sort of like, okay, well, at least you get the week, it's not 2 days a week isn't a lot, but at least you get some reprieve from this hell of work. The problem is, for me, it just doesn't work like that. For me, it's a constant psychological prison, just knowing that you have to go there. It's like a Sunday afternoon's a perfect example of this. Many people consider Sundays to be like a leisure day, or like they just hang out with their family, or whatever they do, right? For me, a Sunday is a nightmare, because it's like, you have to go back to this horrible, dull, depressing place on a Monday. Just knowing that psychologically puts me in the worst mood. One of the worst feelings, to be completely transparent, is when you're lying in bed on a Sunday night and you've got to go in there tomorrow. It's the most depressing thing. I don't know how people do it. Are their brains just like flooded with dopamine and serotonin? What in their life is so great? Like, they just love having children or family. What is it? What makes them so happy? I don't understand it. Like, there's something missing in my brain. My personality does not like being controlled, but work is control. I'm sorry, it's control. And I'm supposed to just deal with it, apparently. But it's a psychological prison. Because even just the fact that other people make you pretend you like it, that's a prison too. You can't just openly go into work and be like, oh, I hate work is stupid, because then you get fired or people treat you like crap or whatever. I mean, you can't even go to a job interview and just say, look, I'm here for the money. No, I'm here because I have a passion for the company and I want to make flowers bloom on a rock and all these things. And come on. It's a psychological prison. You go on LinkedIn and you can see this so obviously. I talked about this in one of my videos. LinkedIn, everyone's going, oh, the best time of my life is I'm an account manager. You have to pretend. It's a psychological prison. And that coworkers, you have to pretend to get along with it. Oh, obviously sometimes people do genuinely get along in work, but a lot of the time I've heard many stories of people being backstabbed and all sorts of horrible things happen in working environments because you're forced to be there. It's not like I'm out, surfing with friends and I meet someone, oh, come join us. It's not like that. You're forced to be there. It's a psychological prison. And you have to go back there. And it never ends. This is the thing, it never ends. It's not like, oh, okay, you've got 1 year and you've got to do it, and then after that you're free. And no, you've got to keep doing it until some magic number. And then, okay, magically at 65, 67, 100, 105, whatever, they'll just decide when you're allowed to be free. And by that point, you've wasted all your life, and then you're getting old. And that's the thing. It's hard to retain good health when you work, because it makes you sick and tired, and it's harder to eat well, and you don't have as much energy for the gym and the exercise, and it's just it kills your... I don't know how people do it. I'm just being honest. If someone out there loves what they do, that's fantastic. I just don't understand how people do it. I don't get how people do it. It's a constant psychological prison that just never seems to end. Even if you get holidays, you get, time off, it still depresses me because you have to go back. It's imagine if I said to you, okay, you can travel the world for 1 year and do whatever you want, but as soon as you get back, you're going to have to spend 10 years in a maximum security prison. You'd say, that's horrible. Oh, well, maybe some people who are very, living in the moment might be able to forget it. But for me personally, I could not forget it. There's no way. If I was on that, this is obviously a made up example. I'm just making this up to illustrate my point so I can get the point across. But I would hate that. I'd be on the trip and I'd be thinking, oh, as soon as I get back, I'm going to be obviously I'm not a criminal. I've never been to prison. I have no interest in prison, but the idea of going to prison to me sounds like the worst possible. It just sounds the most horrible place. I don't know how people can want to go there. But that's the thing. Speaking of that, you do see people who get institutionalized. I've watched prison documentaries, and it's like with the working world. People get institutionalized. You see it. They go, oh, I've actually got quite a good cell, and they give us ice cream on Saturdays, and we play chess with the cellmate, whatever they do, and you can tell. And honestly, they're probably just doing that to survive. But I mean, what I'm trying to say is they get institutionalized to survive, right? I assume that's why they do it, or maybe their brain changes. I have no idea. I'm not a criminal psychologist, although it's an interesting topic, to be honest. But the thing is, work is like that too. You see it with people. When people get out of university, I used to see them, they get so depressed. So many of my friends, they got so depressed about work. They would be so fun, and they get these grad jobs and they would just die inside. And they were really, really depressed about their jobs. And then over time, you see them sort of adapt to it. Oh, I guess we have our little pizza night, or we have our, our work drinks or whatever, pardon me, things we do, and they sort of adapt to it, and they sort of like institutionalize themselves to cope with it. To me, it's like a living nightmare. It's like you're born, and then we have no idea about what life even is, to be honest. People claim to say they do, and like, to be honest, I don't really have the answers of what life is. But the thing is, we're in this weird world where all these crazy things happen, all these things can go wrong, but you know what you're supposed to spend your time doing? Doing some stupid job, and you're supposed to be grateful for it. Oh, it's the most amazing thing ever, and if you don't like it, you're the bad guy, and you know, there's people like us that secretly hate it, and we try and talk about it, but then we're bad, and oh my God, it's the worst thing. It's the psychological prison that really affects me so badly. You know, it's like the fact that you have no flexibility. The fact you have to be there, you have to pretend, you have to like try and get along with these people. You have to pretend that you care about the email. You pretend, and you just have to go back there, and you have to know that there's always another time where it's going to come back. Because like I watched this documentary about a low security prison, and apparently some low security inmates, I think for like very, very minor crimes, I think they're allowed to they go to the prison for 5 days and they get the weekends off or something. It's some sort of community re-entry. I actually don't know. I'm not, I don't really know much about this stuff. And I thought, how is that any different from a 9 to 5? Seriously. Oh no, it's different. It's different because they're in prison and like we're free on the outside. Yeah, cool story. Like, come on. You're just an institutionalized person on the outside. It always kind of reminded me of those, I see these prison documentaries, and because obviously when you get really depressed, sometimes you watch a prison documentary, try and be like, oh, maybe it's worse for someone else type thing, I don't know. And you see these prisons in I don't know, I think it was South America or something. These really sort of rundown prisons, and there's no guards inside, and so all the people are just running their own prison, and they live almost like these parallel lives in the prison. That's kind of like what the working world is. People are just in these prison. They don't even feel like they're in a prison, but they're in a prison. And the psychological burden and the isolation that causes is crushing for me. So a lot of videos they focus on I don't have time to, spend time with whoever I want to spend time with, or, travel or whatever because of work, which is true. And I agree 100%. But for me, it's this secondary problem. It's the psychological burden of work. And just the fact that you can't, if you don't, these people aren't always nice. Work people aren't always nice, and you can't get away from them. There's no way to, if someone's not nice to your work, you can't do anything. You can't tell them to go away. You can't tell them no. You can't stand up to them because, it'll create drama and this and that. And you're sort of forced to be there. And it's a psychological burden that you just can't escape. And the only way to escape, realistically, is to make money. And this is what I always say in my videos. If you have money, none of this applies to you. Like my friend with a trust fund, he has worked jobs and stuff before. Before he ran his own business, he's worked a few jobs, just to, test him out, I guess. And he never had to worry about this. And of course, because of who he is, everyone's nice to him anyway. But if he, didn't want to do something, I was like, oh, what are you gonna do? How are you gonna make me do it? It's all just about money. This whole world is just dictated by money and power. And those at the top have it all, and those at the bottom, we have to slave away to make them happy. It's just the most depressing thing. And people can't even see this. I'm so glad some people are commenting stuff that agrees with me, because I feel so isolated about this. People just think they're so lucky. Oh, we live in a free country and we can work and we can make all this money. What money? You can't even afford a house, you rent. How is that? They try and act like, one of the worst things when people pretend they have a good salary. It's one of the worst things. Oh, I earn this much a year. I'm like, okay, so can you travel? Can you buy a house? Can you buy a car? Can you do? Oh, no, not really, but at least I can, I don't know, go out on a Friday night. It's the most depressing thing. It's a psychological prison. And so for me, one of the reasons why, and obviously I'm making the YouTube channel as well, but another reason, if I'm around, I like to be around people who don't like the system, because I feel sort of less alone. If I end up making money, I've got various ways I'm trying to make money. If any of them succeed, and I can hang out with other people who also are like, oh, this system is terrible. It's being forced to spend your time around people that love the system is psychological torture for me personally. And then just knowing that even if I escape these people and go to, retreat to the weekends or whatever on a Sunday or a Saturday, I have some personality defect where I can't forget that I have to go back. It's I think normal people can just, even if they don't like work, I think they can just sort of put it out of their head. They can sort of watch TV or something. For me, even if I'm trying to watch something, I still think about it. I've got to go back to this crap place, and I've got to, it's the most depressing psychological prison. And there just seems to be no escape besides making money. So, basically anyone watching this, just try and find a way to make money. I don't know, find a way to make money where you have some level of autonomy, because that to me is the For me, the only way I would see life is sort of acceptable, if that makes sense. I'm just sick of the psychological burden of just the working world. And that's the thing, even if you take time off work and you're taking a break or whatever, you still know you have to go back to make money. So it's the most depressing, it's like a cycle that never ends really, unless you make money. So I hope this video made sense. I'm really hoping that anyone, watches this, and if you have any comments about like how you cope with the working world, please share them with me, because I always love hearing how people like cope with this. It's like a giant prison, as my commenter said, a colony. It is like a colony. I agree with you. We're in this colony, this workers' colony, like that movie Ants. We're like a colony, and we're just slaving away to make our masters rich, and it's the most depressing thing ever. Like, how do people cope with this? I want to know. How do you cope? Like, what is the secret to coping? I want to know. I've tried everything. I don't know how people do it. The psychological prison just drives me absolutely insane, and believe me, I've got a lot more of these like anti-work style videos to make. So if you subscribe for that, you're probably gonna get a lot more of that. So yeah, thank you very much for watching, and see you in the next one.